What if I told you that Europe's legendary car industry, a global symbol of engineering and, let's be honest, quality, is at a real make or break moment? The global shift to electric vehicles isn't just about a new type of engine. It's a battle for the very future of this economic powerhouse. So that leads to the big question. Can Europe actually win this high-stakes race? Well, a new pretty in-depth report from the advocacy group Transport and Environment lays out two starkly different futures. And the path Europe goes down, it's all being decided by the choices made right now. Okay, let's dive right in. To really get a handle on the choice ahead, we first need to understand just how much is on the line here. Let's start with a big number. The car industry pumps a staggering 330 billion euros into Europe's economy every single year. And think about it, this isn't just about the shiny cars rolling off the assembly line. It's about millions of people whose jobs depend on it, from the factory floor all the way down to the smallest parts supplier. And the report's core message is a pretty serious warning. This EV revolution, it's happening, whether Europe is ready or not. So the real question is, who's going to be in the driver's seat? The analysis argues that any hesitation, any delay, could basically just open the door for competitors to swoop in and take over. So let's explore that first potential future the report maps out. This is what they call the path of low ambition. It's a scenario where Europe kind of gets cold feet and decides to weaken its 2035 climate goals for cars. And the consequences of this path? Well, according to the analysis, they're pretty devastating. We're talking about a potential loss of 1 million jobs in the auto sector by 2035. This isn't just a few factories closing down. It would be a massive shift in global manufacturing that could leave Europe way behind. And of course, those lost jobs create this huge ripple effect across the economy. The report estimates a 90 billion euro hit to the industry's economic contribution. That is a massive blow to an industry that has been the backbone of Europe for generations. But the real danger here lies in what this means for the future. This low-ambition approach could slash investment in crucial battery production by 2/3. And without these local gigafactories, Europe's dream of a homegrown, competitive EV industry, it could just evaporate. But it doesn't have to be that way. The report also presents a much more optimistic future. This is one where Europe decides to lead the EV race by committing to its climate goals and, really importantly, strategically investing in its own industries. In this future, those job losses we just talked about, they aren't inevitable. While, yes, old jobs in making combustion engines will fade, the report finds they can be replaced by new opportunities in batteries, in charging infrastructure, in the entire EV ecosystem. It's a fundamental shift, not a collapse. And the engine of this new economy? Well, it's batteries. This path would unleash over 900 gigawatt hours of battery production capacity in Europe by 2030. Now, that's not just some big number. The report frames it as a declaration of strategic independence in a technology that will literally define the future of mobility. And it's not just about the factories either. A whole new charging industry is set to explode, creating a 79 billion euro market by 2035. We're talking about everything from manufacturing the physical chargers to developing the sophisticated software that's going to run them all. So, what does this new EV economy actually look like? The report paints a picture of both incredible opportunity and, well, significant risk. Let's take a closer look at that challenge. Okay, so Europe has these really ambitious plans for battery production. But look closer at this chart. See those orange and red slices? A huge chunk of these planned factories, nearly 2/3 of the total capacity, are classified as medium or high risk. Without clear and stable policies, these projects might get delayed, downsized, or maybe never even get built at all. And here's where it gets really interesting. When we look at who is building these factories, an important pattern emerges. Homegrown European companies seem to be facing a tougher challenge, with only 15% of their planned capacity considered low risk. Now, compare that to their non-European competitors, who often have more experience and deeper pockets. They're in a much stronger position, with almost half their capacity deemed secure. This quote from the report really gets to the heart of the supply chain challenge. It argues that just building the big battery assembly plants isn't enough. If Europe doesn't also invest in those crucial middle steps, like refining minerals and producing key components, then the real value and the jobs will just end up somewhere else. So, how can Europe navigate this complex landscape and secure that brighter future?
Well, the good news is the report doesn't just point out the problems, it offers a clear roadmap for success. It basically lays out a 5-point game plan. First, stick to the climate targets. That gives investors confidence. Then, it's about directly supporting battery production and creating a Made in Europe advantage. The plan also calls for using the massive purchasing power of corporate fleets to drive demand. And finally, just cut the red tape to build out charging stations much, much faster. So in the end, this analysis presents a choice between two profoundly different futures. One of a slow, managed decline, and one of renewed leadership built on a new electric foundation. The question the report leaves us with isn't whether the auto industry will change, it's who will be in the driver's seat when it does.